Christina, introduce yourself and take us through your program.
All right, so I am 5 years out of school, which means 5 years ago, I was standing at a podium giving my senior presentation to Professor Doherty and Professor Mellenchamp. Now I'm here. I'm not getting graded. It's really nice. It's a relief. You guys, some of you may be ready to graduate. You have all sorts of choices after you graduate, what you're going to do. Are you going to go to school more? Are you going to get a job? From school, there's all these different routes. You can go to grad school. You can do something totally off the wall. You just have to find your passion. What do you want to do? So I'm assuming, seeing as you're here, you may be interested in working at a startup, seeing what that is. So that's where we're tailored. Plus, I can't speak to going to graduate school because I didn't go. So there's all sorts of job opportunities that you have within engineering. You could go corporate, you could go startup, you could do sales. Michael's kind of right. Like, we don't necessarily always like sales guys, but they're around. You need it, and it's a great job to start off. There's also government jobs if you're into that. So there's a little bit about me. What steps did I take to get me on top of those reactors? So after I graduated, I did chemie. I also was part of the technology management program here on campus. And after that, I went and I worked in corporate America at a great company, and I had a blast. I did product development and process development. While I was there, I launched, I think, 7 different products, went on the shelves. You know, it's really cool to walk around and be like, hey, Mom, I made that. You know, go to the store and buy what I made. That's awesome. And also, you know, worked on a bunch of different projects, got to work with some really great people, and learned about how things go. Then, a couple years into it, I left. I went to a startup, worked for Mark, Biofuel Box. 2 years now and counting. I'm loving it. I'm addicted. My next job will definitely be a startup. The question is, am I going to start it? I'm sure I'll be able to talk to some of these guys for further information and figure it out from there. So wherever you go, it doesn't matter. Who can you learn from? So you guys are at the greatest university in the country, and you are doing the hardest major that there is. So you guys are hotshots, right? You know that too. Like, some of you guys are popping your collar, and you know it's like, okay, I can strut my stuff just a bit. Yeah, I see it. All right, you see it in your eyes. But it turns out, like, you are not yet Batman. You are not Harry Potter. You cannot do everything yet. But when I was in the design class, oh yeah, we knew that you had to go ahead and pick out materials of compatibility for those reactors that we designed on HYSYS. You can learn from anybody, be it the kid that's had like too many drinks of Jack already and he can do your HYSYS program for you, also in corporate America. So what do you need to learn? You need to learn what you don't know. And you don't even know what you don't know yet sitting in those chairs. Unless you've gone and you've worked in industry and some of you guys, I know some of you guys, have had some pretty stellar internships because I've been part of them. But I'm sure many of you guys have had. So who can you learn from? So when you get to a company, a startup, a corporation, you need a buddy. You need to find your Ron Weasley. He doesn't have to have red hair, but you need someone that can teach you the basics, that kind of knows what's going on a little bit, and someone that's like good to have around for the ride, right? Because you need that camaraderie. You need someone to do it. So that's one of your people. You need to find a buddy. You know, more also works. You can find a couple buddies, but you know how it is. Having like 30 friends doesn't really do any good. You need like 2 or 3 really good ones, and that's what you need to do. Another person that you need to find is your Hagrid. And everyone's like, for those of you that don't know Harry Potter, Hagrid's like the groundskeeper, right? He didn't graduate from school. No one really knows who he is. You know, he does all this weird stuff, but he has all the secrets. And that's who it is. A lot of people write others off, the technicians that work at your company, the welders for that build your systems. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm the engineer, I'm the hot shot, and you really need to learn from those people because they have the time, they have the information, and they have the confidence and desire to actually share what they know. So that was one of the best ways to learn is, go ahead and take some guy out to breakfast or lunch or whatever and just be like, hey, can you help me out with this? Or when you're going to do this for me, why don't you show me how you did it? Because if you're going to go ahead and fix something and I could learn, okay, this is a swage lock compression fit coupling. That's different than an MPT coupling because of this, this, and this. It's going to help you out down the road because when something breaks down later, especially if you're working at a startup, you need to be able to fix things. Those are the people, though, that can teach you a lot of those things that you don't necessarily know how to do. The last thing you need to do is you need to find yourself a Dumbledore. You need a mentor who can really take you to the next level. I found mine. It's probably pretty obvious who it is. That's the secret to continued learning. Although my Dumbledore looks a little bit like Harry Potter, but we won't get into that right now. So your mentor will take you to the next level, whether that's at a corporation, whether that's a startup. They'll even, if they're a good mentor, they'll tell you when you've outgrown where you're at and when you need to leave. That's something that happens. You're going to go to companies and you're going to see that, maybe this isn't the right spot for me. And you need to have people that you can talk to and say, hey, what do you think? I've been looking around and I see this as an option. You think it would be good? What do I need to learn from? You need someone that can stare you cold in the face and say, you really suck at this. And for you to be able to be like, oh, okay, you're right. Can you help me figure out how to not suck at this so much? All right, so now that we know who we can learn from, let's talk about some of the benefits of corporate America. There is structured learning. So you have tons of time, tons of training programs to pick up and learn as much as you can. I learned so much in 2 years, it's ridiculous. It's one of those things that you go and you learn and some of it you learn about and you're like, okay, why did I learn this? But other things you learn about the processes. You don't see that when you're in school. You go to class, you go skateboard in between, you ride your bike out to the beach, but like the processes of how a company fits together and things like that. Another thing great about corporate life is they'll ramp you up on project load. You start with small projects, they'll take you to that next level. They'll bring you to the next step and the next step. And they're also well-funded. Sometimes to a point it was in excess. You see the toilet paper there. It's sometimes they're throwing money at crazy things. And it's like, oh, we need to spend an extra $120,000 this year. That happened once. We just had extra money in the pilot plant budget. So I went to him and said, hey, I really think we need to get this, solid particle agglomerator pilot project going. We had the money. I was able to do it. That doesn't happen all the time, but you need to be able to be aware of those things and take advantage of the fact that, corporate people have the money to throw around to do that. The other thing is the camaraderie. Any company that you go to, if you're going to go to corporate America, you better make sure they have a new hire training program. You better make sure that they have mentors available for you. But the new hire program where I went, it was just like college all over again. We'd always hang out at each other's apartments after class, or after work. We'd eat lunch together. We'd do different things. And so we had our group that helped us out. But you want to find a company that has that sense of camaraderie. You want to find something like that.